Hello ladies and gentlemen, and today I have got a golden ticket because I am once again at the West Midlands Safari Park, and I am going to be using the 100-400 lens to once again take some pictures of some wildlife. Hopefully some big cats if all goes well. We'll see after this. Now, in not a very long amount of time, I'm going to be heading off to go around the safari park. But it looks like I might have chosen the wrong day for it. Now, it's not raining. Now, if you remember the last video, towards the end of the day, it rained. I thought we would have, because it's a very low cloud cover at the moment, and I thought that we would have a day like we had yesterday, where there was very low cloud cover, but it was actually very bright. So it wasn't quite as bad as you might think. You know, it wasn't quite as difficult to take pictures. Yesterday, I wanted to go out and take a sunset. Of course, we didn't have any sun, and so I just completely missed out on that at all. But today, I booked tickets to come here. You know, you do that. You spend money on petrol as well. It's probably coming up to about 11 o'clock. So I am going to be taking my first trip around the park first. I'm realizing now, because I'm not sure that the kind of restaurants and things are open in the way that they were, that I probably should have brought some food with me, which I didn't. So I will probably be running on fumes by the time today ends. Now, the last safari is at 3 o'clock. It's, like I said, about 11 o'clock now. So I've got about 4 hours to go around and around and around the park, and then I'll sort out everything else like food and drink and what have you. I did bring some drink with me. This is a good tip. I've got one of these thermos mugs, and I've got a whole bottle of Coke back here somewhere. Pepsi Max, which is what I'm drinking at the moment. There you go. There it is. So if I get thirsty in the middle of the thing, I'm not going to run out of drink at all. Not that it's likely, but you never know. It's nice to have a few creature comforts around you. Not having food will be difficult, but not impossible for the next 4 hours. I did have a relatively large breakfast, so that's always a good thing. I'm rambling a little bit, I have to admit. So, right, camera-wise, what do we got? It's not a particularly good day, and right now I'm in possibly the darkest part of the day, part of the area. I'm on Yes, I'm on F8 at the moment, and I need to be on at least a shutter speed of 500. Otherwise, you're not going to slow down any movement that the animals are going to get. And you know what? I can't see a thing through that. It's too dark. It just really is too dark, which means I'm either going to have to push up my ISO. And if I do that, let's see where we are. Oh, let's take it off bracketing, because that helps. So push up my ISO. I'm really struggling at that. I'm going to have to take it down, I think, to 4.6. And then my ISO is on 1250, which isn't bad. It's not brilliant, but it does mean that you can get that higher shutter speed. Now, fully extended, that's going to push my ISO up again. I think what I'll do, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to put ISO on automatic, and then it's going to choose whatever it thinks is best. Right up to probably about 3000, you get acceptable images from this. But of course, it's better if it's on those lower ISO numbers. Like I said, I thought it would be brighter today. We've got very low cloud cover, and it's the middle of summer, or rather, it's the start of summer, I suppose. It's the middle of the year. This is actually the middle day of the year, so we've only got the rest of what we've only just had to go to come, and then we're into next year, which is sooner than you think. So yeah, I thought it would be nice and bright, because it was nice and bright yesterday. It's not nice and bright, but it's still only 11 o'clock. Maybe we'll get some of that brightness as we go around. The other thing I'm going to do is take this hat off, because it makes it a little bit more difficult to take photos when you've got a hat on. And it is a bit warm in here, so I'll have, when I'm going round, and if I do some things, I'll have the engine going and the air conditioning on and things like that. So I do apologise if there are some weird noises that are introduced into today's video. However, I've rambled on long enough. It's the other settings that I'm going to add onto here. At the moment, I'm on single point focus. Now, there's a reason for this. I'm going to put it onto continuous, so it will continuously work. We're going to go on to single point. And again, this is because animals move. So what we're going to be doing today is flipping between wide tracking, which I've got on continuous mode, and single tracking, which I've actually got on manual mode. Manual mode's really useful because it lets you see the lines, the focusing lines, so you know kind of what's in focus when you're taking the image, which is especially when you've got it up to your eye, actually really useful. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to get started now. I will see you in just a few minutes at the first animal that I take a picture of, which I think is either giraffes or rhinos. We'll see anyway. I'm at the zebras. I've found that trying to set an ISO and using that ISO, it's not going to work. I need to have I've put it on automatic ISO, just really because that's the one thing that I can guarantee on using, which means that the other settings that I've got aren't going to change. The lens is as open as the lens can possibly get. Although in terms of ISO, I'm not doing too badly. 500, 400, 600, which is fine for the camera. Actually, the camera works fairly well under those conditions. So we're doing all right. So far, I've got a few zebras. I've got a couple of giraffes. And I'm pretty pleased with the quality, with the sharpness of the images. I'm also fully aware that the cars can be moving forward at any point, so I do apologise for that. And of course, I'm getting these very flat images because it's a very flat day. So really, the thing that I'm going to want to do on this, if at all possible, is to make sure that in the edit, I'm doing something with that edit that pulls out the character and the majesty is possibly the wrong word, but you know what I mean. You know, it's pulling out that sort of thing inside the animals. I'm not sure I really know what I'm talking about right now. It's what happens when you try and concentrate on the traffic that's in front of you and the animals that are around you and then trying to do a piece to camera at the same time. Anyway, yes, zebras have been taken, and I think I've got one or two good zebra shots. Giraffes have been done. I'm not overly interested in doing giraffes, mostly because I've heard they don't sell. That's about it. There were a couple of rhino shots, and there was a shot of a baby rhino, which is around the corner a little bit and I can't see him anymore. But yeah, it should be interesting. We'll see how it all pans out in the end. There are lovely shots that I could be getting right now of the odd bird coming into land, but they're only seagulls and they're not that exciting. Well, I'm at the point now where there's not much to see. You know, if you're shooting wildlife, the things that you want to take tend to be the exciting things. Tends to be the big cats or you know, the bigger animals, the stuff that you're not going to see at a zoo, or not going to see quite so close up at a zoo. And we're not really there at the moment. We're a little way off, and you just kind of have to wait for all the rest of the cars to go around. However, it's not a bad day. Sat in a car, listening to some music as I go around here. I could have had the window open, of course, because we're at that point. What's really worrying me is that the cars behind me have got their lights on, which does not bode well for later on. However, I wanted to ask you all a question, actually. I have been making these videos about the filmmaking and photography and what filmmakers could teach photographers about the art of photography. And in order to do that, in order to kind of illustrate the points, I need to show things in those videos which come from copyright material. I need to show, for example, Hitchcock perhaps doing, you know, Rope and the long take, perhaps, you know, something like that. I need to show that scene from Clockwork Orange. I need to show the scene from Citizen Kane. And of course, that means that you get copyright channel ID strikes on your channel. So my question is are you, as people who watch these videos, finding those useful enough for me to keep going with it? Because every time I get a channel ID tag on a video, I can't monetize it, which isn't a big problem now, but maybe in the future it will be. Or would you like to see something else? And if there's something else you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments. It would be really useful to have an idea about whether those things are making a bit of an impact. I think they're really important. I think that these are things that don't get talked about enough amongst photographers. So I'd really love to have a bigger, broader conversation on all of these things. But of course, if that's not what you guys want, if that's not what's engaging with you at the moment, please let me know. I am just about to enter the lion enclosure. I can see the large stream, and there are the lions. The lions are on the right-hand side. But I don't think I'm going to get a particularly good picture of them. I don't know. This is really difficult because I've got to get it into position, which is about there, where I can take a look at the lions with my lens out. Oh, I don't think that's going to work because... No, it isn't. Because unfortunately, where they are, it's against a really bright background, and you can't boost the colour enough. I'm wondering whether I might be able to get it from the other side instead. Might actually be able to get a picture of a lion. Now, I've been here 3 times already, and whilst I've got a picture of a lion, it's never been a particularly good one. No, I'm not going to get it. There is now a car behind them. Oh no, car's gone. This car's moving off. Or there's a little bit of a cut in the grass, and I know I still can't see them. So all the lions are lying down, which is kind of what you expect from lions. I'm going to move over into this other stream, actually. And oh, there's some lions over there as well. That's a brilliant picture. I can't get at it, but it's a lion looking at a zebra longingly. I love the idea that the lions in this park just spend their days watching what they could be eating. Okay, so didn't get any lions. We're going into the white lion enclosure now. As some of you know, this is my favourite part of West Midlands. I think I can probably just fit in there. This is really it for me. This is the reason for coming to West Midlands in the first place. The white lions in particular, when they laze around, they're lazing around on these plinths in many cases, or they're moving around. If I'm going to get a picture, I'm going to get it here. And I think... And now the grass is in the way, which happens. You can't really get away from that. There is a nice bored lion just in front of me, if I can get in. I need these cars to move on just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we go, one of them's gone. That's brilliant. Because that means I can get right up to that one lion. Bored lion. Let's just see how that is. Not great, if I'm honest. I could really do... That was an ISO of 160, so I'm going to push the shutter speed up. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yes, massive difference. Massive, massive difference. And I'm taking lots of pictures here. Actually, what I'm going to do stick it onto Saga. It's lying down. Okay, there's another lion over here that is not lying down. And if I get into the right position and get right on the face, putting the camera into single point, which means I have a bit more control over the points that should be in focus. Yeah, that isn't bad actually. All the important bits are. I'm going to push this up to an f8. Hope that they turn around again. Which means that my ISO now is automatically on 640. And I'm wondering, there's a lion here. I'm wondering if that's actually going to work. Not bad, actually, not bad at all. Ah, right. This one in the front. I think I've got it on that last one. Yes, that's perfect. That's what I wanted, nice and sharp. This is what I really love about these days. What I've got here is a lion that is sort of against a white background, and you get these really nice flat backgrounds, and sometimes the increase you need in ISO actually means that works quite well. Hopefully in this instance that's what we've got. We'll have to wait and see. But we're exiting the really dangerous animals portion of the event. And really that was all I was kind of interested in taking. We didn't see any cheetahs. We usually see those more towards the afternoon. We didn't get any lions, although we saw them. Again, they'll probably be more active towards the afternoon. But we did get a white lion, and we'll have to see how that goes. I definitely think pushing the shutter speed on that one up to 1,000 has helped. It's not perfect. It's not the best idea in the world, but I think it's done something. The only way that we can really tell is if we take a look at the final images in the computer. I hadn't quite finished going around the park at this point, and I was able to get a shot of one of the wild dogs. Now, these aren't the African wild dogs, but a different breed whose name escapes me now. But I was able to do a teal and orange edit on this to bring the image up into its current state, which I quite liked. I did go around the park more than once, and that meant that eventually I did get to see some lions. This particular shot isn't the greatest, but it shows the movement of the object. And, you know, I had a lot of trouble taking images through the driver's side window. It was always hard to keep the camera still, and of course it's a very long lens which would butt up against the glass, and that led to an awful lot of missed shots. On the other side of the car, however, everything was completely different, and possibly my favourite out of the camera shot for the day was this one. I've been to lots of safari parks in the past, but I never seem to be able to get a decent shot of tigers. Well, West Midlands is different, and I've had some great experiences with their white tigers in the past, and this time it was the turn of their... Well, I think this is a Bengal tiger, but don't quote me on that. And for me, he's the star of the show. I was really pleased when this came out of the camera. It was a distinct win for the day. But that wasn't the only shot that I managed to get. However, before I show you those final images, I did reflect on my trip around the park when I'd been around once, and I was able to give a bit of advice that saved many of my images that day. Okay, so that was my first trip round, and I have had a bit of a chance to look at all the images. I'm actually pretty pleased with a couple of them. Definitely putting that shutter speed up helped enormously. And it really, because when you're taking pictures from a car, so if you're doing anything in a safari park or something like that, you have problems. Now, in a normal situation, you'd either be outside or you'd have a window open or something. You can't do that when there are animals around that might want to kill you. So you've got to shoot through glass, and it can be a tricky thing because you don't just have the glass, you have the levels of dirt that have built up on the glass. Even if you've washed the windows before you get there, it's never going to be the clearest, most optically good. That's not a good phrase. Optically goodest. That's not a good phrase at all. It's never going to be the best material to shoot through. That's really what I'm getting at. And even though the camera will focus through it, sometimes the fact that you've got bits of dirt on the glass, much like you would have if you have bits of dirt on a lens, can mean that you get an image which isn't quite as sharp. So you need to do as much as you can to mitigate that within the camera. So things like, obviously, you're putting your stabilization on, but that only helps to a certain extent. I've always found that using higher shutter speeds actually really does help when it comes to shooting through glass. And again, the trade-off for that, which is a higher ISO, doesn't matter because ultimately the ISO stuff you can fix. If your image is too grainy, you can fix it. And I can tell you, if you're shooting under 1200 ISO, yeah, your image is probably not going to be too grainy for what you want. So with that in mind, if you're shooting at 1,000 of the second shutter speed, and I'm on f8 at the moment because again, the bigger the depth of field, just all of those little things that you can do to help get the sharpest image is going to matter more when you're shooting through glass that you can't control than it is when I was at Slimbridge the other week and I was shooting just through the camera, through the lens. I got some shots were sharper at Slimbridge, even though I wasn't as worried about the technicalities of it as than they were today, when actually I am more stable because I'm sat down, I'm supported. There is every reason why these shots should be better, but in actuality, sometimes they're not. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video, I think. I'm going to pack the camera up now, and I'm going to go around another couple of times and get more shots. So obviously I'll show you those shots at the end, the best ones that I've got. But for today, I don't think there's much more I can talk about in terms of actually taking a photo at a safari park, which is essentially what this video is all about. Do let me know what you think about the other videos that I'm releasing in the comments below. I'd really love to know what you think about that. But for now, let's just see what images that I got at the end of the day. Before I go, I must tell you about this final shot that I managed to get, and it wasn't until the final time around the park, and I was a little worried I'd be booted out before I got anything good, but on this last drive round I saw some lions on a rock and I got this shot. Now, you saw how flat the day was, and I had to do quite a lot of Photoshop work to get the right image out of this, but it was well worth it, and this one shot absolutely made my day. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a full edit of this image, because it might be an interesting one to do. Now, that really is it for this video, and I'd like to say thank you to everybody who stayed to the end. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you're new here and would like to see more of these videos, then please hit the subscribe button, the little bell icon at the end, and the all notifications tab so you won't miss out every time I post. Until next time, thanks ever so much for coming along, and don't forget, keep taking those photos.